All right, so this is my first time doing anything like this. I've been wanting to do it for a while in reference to QKids, and I just haven't gotten around to it. I wanted to kind of start from the beginning and take you through what QKids was and really go through like what my thought process was to get me into QKids or why I was interested in it. Um, and then take you through the interview process as I was doing it, but it just didn't happen. Life happened, and there was just no way that I could be doing the interview process and everything else I had on my plate and be doing videos constantly. So, what is this video is about QKids, and it's the other guy's perspective on QKids. There's one other person that I know of who's male, who's a QKids teacher. He's done some videos, but they're not regular. And so I wanted to kind of bring my own perspective on QKids and kind of give you an idea of what it is from my perspective. So this is it. The videos might get fancier later. For right now, I'm just going to make it quick and dirty and tell you about it. So QKids is an online teaching platform that allows anybody with a bachelor's degree, really, the ability to teach kids in China English. And you don't have to have any experience teaching English. I didn't have any experience teaching English, but it's a great way to earn some extra income. What does that income look like? I think that's the question everybody has right off the top of their head. Currently, as of February 10th, 2020, that income is going to average $20 an hour, provided that your performance is good and that families are giving you good feedback, and provided that you're teaching at least 15 classes a week. If you are teaching less than 15 classes a week, you will lose $1 an hour. So you'd be looking at $19 an hour. Any class that a family reviews you below 4 stars, so there's a 5-star rating system, any class where you are rated below 4 stars, you will lose the dollar performance bonus for that class. So it's no big deal. I would say that it's rare, but it's good to have. A lot of times when people talk about QKids, they'll be like, oh, you can earn $1,800 a month or $2,600 a month or whatever it is. And so I like to talk about hourly. What does that look like? $20 an hour is not bad for something you do on the side, for a side gig, or some side hustle, as I like to call it. And so that's what piqued my interest. Now, my sister-in-law teaches for another company, so that's how I knew that this even existed. Outside of my sister-in-law teaching for some other company, I would not know that English teaching online was even really a thing. So when I found out about it, I checked into it. QKids seemed like the best company to me. They had great feedback. There were a lot of people that were really happy being on QKids. And so I said, you know what? I'm going to try it, even though it's completely out of my element. Guys, I'm not a teacher. I have a sorted background. I've done tons of different things, but teaching children in a classroom setting is not anything I had ever done previous to QKids. So I just want to encourage everybody um, to really think about it. I mean, if you need to earn some extra money, or you want to earn some extra money, or you get some sort of gratification out of teaching kids, then this is totally for you. You've got to be able to care about these kids. If you don't care about these kids, you won't be a successful teacher. So know that. Doesn't mean I'm like a kid person. I seek kids out all the time, and that I want to be surrounded with children. I'm a dad, but it's not like I love, hanging out with kids, but I can get on board with wanting them to learn and wanting them to be successful. And so that's why QKids works for me, is because I teach every class like, man, I want you to learn this. Not I'm getting my 30 minutes in and I'm going to get paid, and then I don't care about you after that. Like that's not my perspective. And I think that anybody who has that perspective will be short-lived on the platform. I'm on my second contract. Contracts last for 6 months. At the end of the first 6-month contract, they hit you up and offer you another contract, or they let you go. And so I just got offered another contract, just actually signed that this morning. So I'm on my second contract now. I'll be in my second 6-month period. And so brief overview, aside from all that, QKids is super simple. They do the curriculum. In the beginning, you have to prep for your classes, or you probably should, by going into the class and looking through the activities to see what's on your agenda for that class. But realistically, it's once, I would say after 3 to 4 weeks, you don't really need to even prep anymore or even look at your classes ahead of time. I can pretty much get thrown into any class, and I very rarely am going to find myself getting stumped by an activity or whatever we're doing. So I would say that that's one advantage of it. I know some of the other companies, there's a lot more prep and props and like tons of stuff you have to have and wave around. And the platform is not as nice, I know, on some other companies. I think, it's almost like PowerPoint based, whereas QKids is like a totally immersive, like they've got it down. Like the platform on the computer is amazing. It's great. Can it be a little buggy here and there once in a while? You have tech issues. Most of the time it's related to the student's internet speed connection. They're lagging or they're having problems like that. But it's not bad. So classes are 30 minutes long. Quick introduction at the beginning of the class. I always ask the students for their name. We have name tags. Sometimes I don't know what the heck they're trying to get at with their name. And then other times I just ask their name for conversation, even though I already have it. I ask them how old they are. You're going to get some great names. I had in the same class the other day, I had Barack and Hillary, and they were actually brother and sister trying to take the same class. That's a whole different thing. One student per, there's 4 students per class, and so there's 4 cameras, one for each student, and I had 2 students trying to basically take the same class. That was Barack and Hillary fighting over the camera, which I guess is not too far from the truth. And then you've got I had Oven in that same class, a kid named Oven. So there's some interesting names. They're all encouraged to pick English names, and so they do. And some of them are right on. There's tons of Annas and Elsas, but the rest of them can get crazy. I've had Dolphin, I've had Shark, I've had all kinds of crazy names, but it's fun. Anyway. So that's basically the premise. I think there's 100 million videos that show you QKids, that show you what the platform looks like, that show you how it works, and they're great. So I would encourage you to check those out if you're curious about what it looks like. Definitely do that. There's tons of videos on requirements, but I'm trying to do this all from a guy's perspective. Not that the requirements are different, but I'll cover those quick. You got to basically have a bachelor's degree. It's going to be very difficult for you to get a job, if not impossible, with QKids without a bachelor's degree. The upside of that is that, gosh darn, everybody these days has a bachelor's degree, and it seems that none of us are using it. So I have a bachelor's degree that I'm not using. My bachelor's degree is in Christian ministry, and I'm not currently using that. So, but it works. You have to have it. They prefer, there's obviously a preference on a teaching degree, but it doesn't have to be a teaching degree. So if you had a bachelor's, you're in. If you don't have a bachelor's, you might make it in, but I can't guarantee it. I don't know that they're hiring anybody without a bachelor's. The Ministry of Education in China has recently gotten really strict, and so they're really cracking down on all the online schools, which I think there's hundreds of them. So they're cracking down on them, and in turn, they're cracking down on us. So keep that in mind. You have to have an ESL certificate, or you should. Those range. They run the gamut. You can go $19.99 International Open Academy on Groupon, which a lot of people do. I did International Open Academy. I didn't get the $19 Groupon deal. I think it was like $40 or $50 for me when I did it. It was an okay program. It's supposed to be a 120-hour course. In all reality, I mean, it doesn't take 120 hours. And some of the information was decent. I mean, I know how to talk to people, and I know how to teach. I'm not a trained teacher, but I can teach. So I thought that it's probably a good thing for people to do and to take seriously. Don't just try to rush through it. Got to have a computer. It could be PC or Mac. I use a Mac for teaching, and it's been bulletproof nearly. I've had very few issues. I have my PC laptop that I tried to use for teaching a couple months back when I got kicked out of my office, and because we had my mother-in-law here, and it did not go well. I had a lot of issues just getting it set up, and I'm pretty techie, so that was very frustrating for me. Not to say that you can't do it on a PC, and I know probably as many people, the split is probably the same on QKids for who has a PC and who has a Mac, but for me, the Mac has worked out better. I use my camera that's built into the Mac, which is what I'm using right now. It works fine. I don't have any issues with that. A lot of people will buy external cameras, and I guess you could. I know in a lot of inexpensive computers or laptops, you're gonna need to buy an external camera because the one that's built in is junk. So that's another thing to think about. Headset, $20 on Amazon. I can always put a link down in the description where I got my headset. This headset works great. It isolates all the sound. I can't hear anything. Somebody could walk into this room right now, I wouldn't be able to hear it. So that's helpful for not being distracted by my kids or anything else that's going on. It's a little creepy that I can't hear anything else, but whatever. It works really well. It seems like students are able to hear me and the quality is good. I know that it picks up you have like that little, noise of like a bubble come up in the back of your throat, and I can hear it. So I think it picks up really, really well. So that's great. That's not cost prohibitive or anything. You got to have time. Time is the big thing. So I'm on Pacific time. Which is probably the worst for QKids. I guess if you were in Hawaii, you'd have it worse. But Pacific time is challenging for QKids. The reason I say that is because there's 4 classes in the morning, and then there's on Friday nights and Saturday nights, I think there's 4 classes on both nights. So you have the option for all those time slots. During the summer and during the winter, there's special seasons where maybe evening availability opens up Monday through Sunday. The whole week has evening availability. So that's during the summer, and then there's a winter, like winter break has the same option. So there can be a lot of slots for teaching. So right now in February, we haven't hit daylight savings time yet. So I'm getting up at 3:30, and I am starting to teach at 3:50. I'm finishing at 5. I teach 2 classes, and so it's an hour of teaching. It's $20. There's 10 minutes between classes, and so that's tough. 3:30 in the morning is very early to get up. I know my body pretty well. I gotta get 6 hours, or I'm in trouble. 5 is I'm gonna get sick if I get less than 5 hours. So that means I'm in bed by 9:30 most of the time. I really try to do that, and it's difficult. It's very hard when you get started to get up that early in the morning. It's lonely. I don't know if that sounds lame, but it's just like my whole family's asleep, and I'm sneaking down to the basement to teach English, and it just feels like desolate. So you have to get used to that. You do get used to that. I would say the first 3 weeks it hurt to get up that early. To only get 6 hours and just get up, at 3:30 in the morning, which is really honestly the middle of the night. I mean, there's no better way to put it, and I'm not going to sugarcoat it. But what I can tell you is that I'm not the most determined person in the whole world, and I can do it. So if I can do it, I'm certain that you can do it. I set 2 alarms. I'm in groups with teachers that whine and complain about oversleeping all the time. That's ridiculous. You're an adult. Set 2 alarms and you won't oversleep. So I set my cell phone on the nightstand. It's got an alarm. I have another battery operated alarm that, like $9, sitting on the dresser. And so if I somehow roll over, grab my phone, turn that off because I don't want to be awake right now, I don't oversleep because the alarm on the dresser across the room goes off and I have to get out of bed. That has happened twice since I've been teaching. So I would have overslept through those classes had I not had that second alarm. So there's no reason to sleep through classes. Once daylight savings times kicks in, everything's going to bump forward an hour. So it's going to be a lot better for me. Come March, it'll be getting up at 4:30 and being able to teach 3 classes before 6. That third class will end right at 6 a.m. That's where I want to be. That's how I started. When I started, the time hadn't changed yet. When I started my 6-month contract, and that was great. 3 classes that's another thing. 3 classes is challenging to teach back to back to back, but you'll get used to it. But yeah, I get 3 classes in the morning, so I can make $30 in the morning, and then yeah, I would be able to go have my time with my family. 6 o'clock is when my house wakes up. So I'd get out right in time to hang out with the kiddos before work and do my whole morning routine completely unchanged. Right now, with the time being set back because of winter, I'm getting up at 3:30. I'm done teaching at 5, and I have the hour to kill between 5 and 6 before the family gets up. Try to make good use of that time. That's what I'm using the time for today, is making this video. So yeah, it's gonna vary with the time changes, and there's definitely going to be better seasons. And I'm looking forward to the time jumping ahead and start at 4:30 and get 3 classes in, rather than starting at 3:30 and only getting 2 classes in. I teach on Friday nights and Saturday nights too. QKids asked me in the contract, asked me in the interview process if I would be willing to teach Friday nights and Saturday nights. Apparently that's a difficult time for them to get coverage, which makes sense because everybody wants to be doing other things. I'm a family guy, so I don't party anymore. I don't go do any of that stuff. So it wasn't a problem for me to say, yeah, I can teach those. And it stinks. I don't get to put my kids to bed on Friday night. Saturday night I teach. Right now I'm only teaching 1 class. When the time changes again, it'll be easier because everything will be a little bit later. So I could teach a couple classes after the kiddos go to bed. I don't like to miss out on family time for this. So that's what's great about it being early in the morning. As hard as it is to get up, it's good that I'm not missing the family time. So I started teaching basically because we made a move. We moved to Idaho, and part of that move was that we didn't want my wife to work. We had my son at the time, and he was just under 2 years old, and we didn't want her to have to work anymore. So we were both working full time when we lived in Southern California, and we were busing it 12-hour days by the time we got done with our commutes, and we got to spend very little time with our son. And thank God for my mom. She kept him, but we didn't get to do what we wanted to do there. So we decided to move. So part of that move was that we wanted my wife to stay home. A big part of that is that I don't work a very high paying job, just to be completely honest. So while I enjoy what I do, it doesn't pay a lot. So I took a pay cut when I came here. We dropped from 2 incomes to 1 income. That doesn't work for everybody. We're making it work, and we're choosing to make sacrifices to make it work. And so this is part of that sacrifice, is that this is not part of my budget. I don't ever count on QKids or any other of these teaching things. They could be gone tomorrow. The education ministry in China could shut these down. So I don't budget based on this. I budget based on my day job. And then this is just extra income to help us out. I mean, extra income is always helpful, but don't count on it. The people that I've encountered that do count on it, they get into a rough spot. You know, when you got a car payment that's dependent on teaching, and then you have a slow week of teaching or slow month, which there are sometimes slow months, not a ton since I've been teaching. Most of my classes most of the open slots I have get filled. I get scheduled for almost every. I mean, it's very, very, very rare that I don't get scheduled, but it could happen. So I don't count on it. It's just not wise. But that's why I started doing it. My sister-in-law was in it. I'm like, I need to make some extra income. I could donate plasma. I sell things online. There's like all these things I could do, but I didn't really want to donate plasma, and this seemed like a good way to make some extra income. And it's been exciting. It's been fun. There are classes that are amazing that I walk away just like I'm walking on sunshine. And there are other classes where I want to just stab myself in the head with a spoon. Like, I'm being honest here. I'm not painting it as something it's not. Sometimes it's hard and sometimes it's easy. When it's easy, it's fun. And when it's hard, it's like anything else that's hard. It's not fun. So that's why I started teaching. And it was very awkward. I will post my my initial video that I did. Basically you read a book, and that's kind of how they gauge who you are and your abilities is off reading a book. I'll post that on this channel so that everybody can take a look at it. Hopefully that'll be helpful, and we'll take a look at that. But yeah, that's why I did it. Like I said, I didn't have any experience teaching English. I have a bunch of youth ministry background, so I have taught kids before. My wife would actually be a much better teacher than me. She was a pre-K teacher for 10 years. I wish that she could do it. She doesn't have a bachelor's degree, so I haven't. And plus, she doesn't have a bachelor's degree, so I haven't encouraged her to do it or try. But she would be 10 times better at this than I am. It would be very natural for her. So that's kind of a bummer because there are a lot of people that are going to get looked over or passed over because they don't have the degree. And it's like, ugh, that stinks because there's better teachers out there that don't have degrees. Um, One last thing I wanted to touch on in this video is it's awkward. Okay, I'm like, dude, I teach English online. Like people hear that and they're like, what? Andrew teaches English online in the mornings to Chinese kids? That's weird. I've gotten quite a few like confused dog, like, really? You do that? I'm like, yeah, I do that. Um, you know, there's definitely advantages to being male. I hear a lot of stories on the groups I'm part on Facebook on things that happen in class, all crazy stories from teachers. Oh, this student did this, this student did that. They said this, they said that. I've been teaching, I've done over 300 classes now and haven't encountered really any of that stuff. So I think there's definitely an advantage to being male. I feel like I get more respect in the classroom because I'm male. So it's also easier for me to roll out of bed. I know that like these poor girls that teach, they're expected to like full face of makeup, and if they don't wear makeup, they get like messages from QKids like, "Are you tired? You look tired." And it's like, oh, that stinks. That's one of those. I'm not a big like gender, equal rights. I think we pretty much have equal rights. Maybe that's one of the areas that is lame for the girls. Is they're expected to have like a full face of makeup and their hair done. I literally roll out of bed like, just do my hair real quick and throw. I just learned this trick this week. I've been wearing a polo and I'm in the basement. It's chilly, so I just started wearing this week, and it's like nice and warm. I throw it on right as I'm walking down the stairs, and it works out great. And so I don't have much prep in the morning. So I think that that's another advantage of being a guy is I can roll out of bed and go, and I don't have to do makeup. I don't have to do some hour-long prep before. So that's another advantage that guys have. But I think there's definitely an advantage for guys, and it seems like the students, I mean, other than possibly some of them feel, it seems like maybe intimidated by me being male and their teacher. I think they have mostly women teaching. That would be my perception anyway. I think that it's an advantage. So if you're a guy out there and you want to make some side income and you're not afraid to get up early in the morning and you think you can wrap your heads around teaching kids and caring about them, because that's the main thing you need to do is care about them. If you don't care about them, this is not going to work and it's not worth your time. But if you can care about a kid, 4 kids, it's 4-on-1, 4 kids for 30 minutes at a time, then do it. It's great side income. It's very steady. They start you out typically they start you out slow. So people will get the job and they'll get their contract and then they'll get scheduled the first week and they'll be like, I got 8 slots and I'm open for 20. And they'll start whining about it, which is frustrating. They ramp teachers up. So basically my first week I was fully scheduled. I had 28 classes, but that was because it was prime time summer. It was super busy. But that's not going to be the way for everybody. Scheduling is, I think, based on seniority. We don't know a lot of things about QKids as far as like there's not a lot of communication from China as to what, how they do and what their methodology is for everything. So, but I was scheduled, pretty much full from the beginning on. There were a few weeks where I had very few classes and it was a little bit concerning, like, where's this going? But goodness gracious, those have been few and far between. I'm teaching more than I care to. When I get a day off now, I'm like, oh, thank God I get to sleep in till 6. And so yeah, but it's a great way to make some side income for your family. I'm going to put my email address in the comments. If you have questions, hit me up. I'm more than happy to walk somebody through this process, to mentor you as best I can. It's a pretty simple process to get hired. It's not really complex, but it can be a little bit nerve-wracking. But yeah, hit me up because there's a lot of videos online. There's a lot of people helping people get through, but there's not a lot of people who are willing to have like a two-way conversation. I'm willing to have a two-way conversation with you. I mean, I might not be responding in an hour, but I will try to get back to you. I'll give my email address. I'll put a code down there. It's a referral code. If you put my referral code in when you apply, then it'll be like a kickback for me from QKids, and that would be awesome. That would really be helpful to me. So I'd appreciate it if I help you, that you would help me in that way. But yeah, I'm excited to see where this goes. This is, like I said, the first time I've done a video like this, and I'm sorry, I wanted to make this really short. We're at 20, almost 25 minutes, so sorry it wasn't shorter. I'll try to kind of be like quicker and to the point more in the future. But yeah, if there's any questions or any concerns or anything, I'll try to do the best I can to answer. Shoot me an email, shoot me a comment on here. I'll try to have a two-way conversation with you. I will try not to be a ghost. And thanks for taking the time to watch this. And I hope maybe if this is something that might work for you, that you can get into it and get the benefits that I'm getting out of it, which is the extra income and the enjoyment of knowing that I'm actually helping these kids learn. So, all right. Well, you have a great day. Bye.